unemployed in the general market versus just being self-employed, or yes, would self-employed count as employed?
Yeah, I would say so. Because I mean, think about
When they do these employment figures, do they count like if you have an Etsy store or something? I don't know if you have some kind of home business, like would they consider that to be employed?
well, because think like someone like James Lindsay, his undergrad, I think. Trying to remember, I always mix it up. One of his degrees is in math, the other is in physics, but he hasn't been in academia in a while. I guess like he runs a business with his wife, so it's like
Yeah,
he's still employed, but he's not employed in that field. So
if
I'd
you're like
imagine
a freelance writer.
there's probably more people like that, like, oh, I run a business with this person, or like in the case of my mother, she studied political science and history, but she did different things. Like she got a job in a bank via my grandfather. She stayed at home for a bit. She went to banking and then real estate, and then she works in a home with adults with mental disabilities. But again, she got that job through people she knew. So it's like there's probably more situations like that too. You know?
Yeah, and of course, there's a difference between getting the PhD and getting your undergrad.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So this is interesting here, though, is that one surprising bit of information is that the demand for academic employment with English majors is actually expanding even faster than economics. English is actually one of the largest departments on campus. Far more people are employed in the English departments than elsewhere. There's a chart in the book. Maybe we can post that or something. I can send it to you if you'd like, which shows the staffing by department. And then what's interesting here too is the popularity of economics as a major has increased over the past 20 years. They said English, on the other hand, has remained stagnant most of the 2000s and has actually declined since 2012. So the number of jobs in English has grown fast at a faster rate than economics, but not fast enough to accommodate all these PhDs. So there are still more PhDs than we need in English, but the market in English is still expanding. There's still people getting PhDs in English, but there aren't enough jobs to accommodate the people who still are studying English, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a strange thing. Like the example they make is, let's compare Apple to Samsung. Let's say that the iPhones and the Galaxies have the same labor inputs. Let's say demand for iPhones increases 40%, demand for Galaxies increases 20%. But yet Samsung were to hire way more people. You would see what's wrong with that immediately. It's like, well, you need the same labor, but why are you hiring way more people? And the key to understanding this is that academic institutions don't operate the same way for-profit businesses do. They're not funded the same way, and they don't have to sell their product to people. You figure these companies, they have to start with capital on hand. They have to convince people to buy their product. And then if demand picks up, they hire more people to accommodate. But with this, you have all these PhDs that are underemployed. So they push to have their classes taught, and then those get forced onto students. So it's a whole different dynamic as far as, yeah, exactly. And here's what's interesting too. He said, they say, I should say, suppose universities decide to reduce their English departments to be on par with the faculty to degree ratio that other core social sciences have. So the way it works, for example, is in political science, a lot of the social sciences, it's the faculty to degrees, it's 1 to 2. So you figure for every professor, there's 2 people graduating with degrees. With English, it's actually the reverse. For English, it's 75,350 faculty to teach for a little over 44,000 degrees. So there's way more people teaching English than there are people graduating. And
wait, how's that working again? Okay, so
in the case of
teaching English, and not all these teachers are, because before you're talking about the PhDs.
Yeah.
So the PhDs go back into teaching.
Yeah.
And doesn't necessarily mean they're all teaching English.
Yeah.
And this number you mentioned there is any English course. It's not just PhD level, right?
Yeah, it's just English in general.
Okay.
But then what they're saying here is that if they were to slash the English professorship to get to a point where it's on par with political science or sociology or something, this would mean universities would have to fire about 53,000 English professors. So and the authors are saying, they're like, let's be clear, we're not telling universities go out and fire all these people, but it does raise the question, of why are there so many people, why are there more people holding degrees teaching fewer people when the demand for that isn't even there. And then they point out here too that economics, there's the faculty to degrees, it's 0.42 to 1. So basically it's like it's just over 2 degrees for every faculty member teaching. And then what's interesting here is that business schools actually have a 0.23 ratio. So you figure it's about 1 faculty member for every 4 business graduates. And business itself, again, it gets a little more complicated because business is not a homogenous thing. I mean, you have finance, accounting, business ethics, business administration, management. So it does include a lot of things, but think about how far fewer faculty there are teaching these degree holders versus English. It's the reverse. It's you have way more people teaching and fewer people graduating, which kind of, yeah. And
yeah, okay. Sorry, just in mind that means they still teach more students, but we're talking specifically the people who are majoring in English who will eventually graduate with the English undergrad. But that's because the physics major will still have to take an English course. The engineering major will still have to take it. The feminism major will still have to take an English course.
Yeah.
Yet the teacher who's teaching physics or feminism or those things, majority of the people who take their courses will be majors in that, so that the figure is going to go closer in that kind of sense. So the other ones might have fewer students, but it's more specialized. They're teaching more specific. Yeah, these people are general. Okay.
But I think what's interesting with business, how the ratio is a lot higher. Again, it's about, if you include all those business related professors, it's about 1 professor for every 4 degree holders, because the ratio is 0.23. So that means that for every professor you see in all those classes that I mentioned, there's like 4 people with degrees coming out. But with English, again, it's the reverse. So, and then on top of it, add that a lot of these English people, the PhDs, they act like they're under attack, their funding is being cut, all this. But they said apparently their departments are expanding at a 10% faster rate than academia as a whole. So this is the usual thing you see with academics. Oh, our funding's being cut. We're being cut. Oh, we don't have enough funding. And then you look at the reality. It's no, money is pouring into this. Yeah.
Well, they are English majors. They know how to use language to persuade people to do certain things, maybe. Thank you for listening. This has been a clip from an actual longer recording that I'll try to leave a link to on the screen or somewhere around here where you're listening to this.
Presents. 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 Presents.
Peasants.
Okay. Okay.